In reference to discipline, when you think about suspensions and expulsions, we do, just like any place else in life, there are expectations for how you have to conduct yourself. And there's a consequence for every action. And we have to look at that to make sure that we're treating students fairly.
Good evening and welcome to Captions. I'm Andre Bohannon, your host, and again I want to thank you for choosing Captions with all the other options that you have. We have had over some 1,700 shows during our 35 years of bringing Captions, and tonight we have another special guest and a special program. Tonight I have with me a new arrival in our community, our new school superintendent for District 150, Dr. Grenita Lathan. Dr. Lathan, welcome to Captions.
Thank you for having me.
And also welcome to our community, Peoria, Illinois. I tell you, I heard a whole lot about you before you arrived. Most of the people who were involved in the process were very impressed with you and highly recommended you as being hopefully one of the parts to bring about the change at District 150. And I've heard nothing but great things since then. Since your arrival, what perception or what thoughts do you have in terms of the new superintendent here in Peoria? Peoria as a community and District 150, specifically your job responsibility.
We have a lot of work to do.
Okay.
School district employees and also the community. We have a lot to do if we're going to make a difference in the lives of children. It's important for me that our children graduate ready to compete in society, that they're ready to either move on to college or out into the workplace, and that we actually are producing productive citizens that can actually give something back to the city of Peoria. So for me, right now, first impressions is we have a lot to do, but it can be done if everyone gets on board and we work together as a team.
So you have a can-do attitude.
Yes, sir.
And I think that that's key, not just for you, but for the administrators, for the teachers, for the parents, and equally important for the students, that we need to approach it from a can-do type of a thing. Can you briefly share with our viewers tonight something about your personal background in terms of where you're from, as well as your professional background with your training and work experience?
I started my teaching career in North Carolina. Also served as an assistant principal in North Carolina. Spent 5.5 years in Oak Forest, Illinois as an assistant principal at an alternative school. Then returned to North Carolina as an elementary principal. Left North Carolina to go out to San Diego, California, and I completed a role out there as the deputy superintendent. San Diego was a school district that had over 135,000 students.
Wow.
And then was recruited to come here to Peoria.
Well, you had more students than we have population, period. I mean, that's quite a bit. What was it that attracted you to Peoria? I mean, had you heard of Peoria prior to reading about the job opening?
Had heard of Peoria, spent time working on my PhD in Carbondale.
Okay.
So I had experience living in Carbondale for about 2.5 years, and then, like I said, spending about 5.5 years up in Oak Forest. Very attracted to Peoria. Once again, it's based on the curriculum programs that were already in place. Some of the things that are in place in reference to curriculum just attracted me because of the fact I already had experience working with those programs. And I wanted to come in and truly be an instructional leader. We hear so much about being an instructional leader, whether you're a principal or a superintendent. And I really wanted to put my skills to work in a district that already, like I said, had the programs in place that I had experience in. So that was the attractive piece of it. Also knowing that it was a smaller district with about 14,000 students as opposed to 133,000. To be able to make a difference, to get to know staff members on an intimate level, to get out and be able to be known in the community so that could work together as a team. So it was the being attracted to a smaller community, a smaller school district that already had curricular programs in place.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because philosophically I feel that if we can't save small school districts or small communities like Peoria, I don't know what chance the bigger cities, the New Yorks, the Detroits, and those kinds of places can have, because you can make a difference, and things still are solvable. Not only did you come here, I know since you've been here, you brought in a number of individuals that you've worked with before or were aware of. Some people kind of looked at that with a funny eye and criticism or whatever. What is your philosophy about bringing in your own team or individuals that you know something about?
I think it's important for a leader to be able to hire people that they feel support the vision of the leadership and that can actually get a job done, and they don't need a lot of direct supervision. Right. They already, once again, have the same experiences that I have in different curricular programs. There are different areas or things we need to bring to our district. For example, one of our high schools does have an international baccalaureate program. The international baccalaureate program is a program that could actually be started in the primary school years, where students would have an opportunity. In my previous districts, those were magnet schools, our IB programs. And so being able to have someone that has that experience that can expand that. I want to expand science here. We need to have a focus on science and math. And so, of course, I recruited someone with science experience. Right. Gifted education is a passion of mine, ensuring that we have gifted education in all of our schools. So I have someone with the gifted education experience. So I was looking for people that already had experience in areas that aligned with my vision. And whether they were from within or outside, I just looked for the best.
Okay, and I'm glad to hear that. I mean, in fact, I was impressed. I wasn't able to attend, but I understand you had a very successful and a positive rally type of a thing down at the Civic Center just before school started. What was your purpose or philosophy in terms of bringing all of the educators together in one spot at that time?
I wanted everyone to start the school year off on the same page, to understand that we were going to be focusing on 4 concepts: respecting the customer, respecting learning, respecting our finances, and respecting individual differences. So I wanted them to hear that from me. You hear a lot in the community, you read a lot in the news, or you see things on TV, but I don't actually get to tell my side of the story sometimes. And I thought it was important for us, just like I said, to get together as one group so everyone understood we're all on the same team. Right. It's not about being a certified class staff member or non-certified, being a teacher or a custodian, bus driver. Everyone's on the same team. We're here to make a difference in the lives of children. And I wanted people to truly understand and hear it from me that it's about children. We work for children. If our children leave, we won't have a job. And if we fail children, we should be ashamed.
Absolutely. How do you feel about parent involvement in terms of the school system as a whole, or the classroom in particular? What are your thoughts or philosophy about the role of parents involved in this educational mission? Parents
should be our partners. I feel that that's very important, but we also have to be realistic about what's going on in society. Parents have to work these days. You know, there was a time that some parents we had a lot of stay-at-home parents, and they could stay at home and come out to the schools and volunteer in the classrooms or help with different committees. But our times have changed. Society, and based on our current financial status as a country, people need to work. So parents, just because you don't see them on campus doesn't mean they're not involved. If they're getting their children to school on time, they're helping with homework, they are communicating with the teacher via notes, email, or telephone calls, that's still parent involvement. So I think each school should meet parents where they are, and they should develop a plan of what does parent involvement look like for my school and also for a particular classroom. But I don't want us to walk away thinking just because you don't see parents that they're not involved. I'm a working parent, and I can't always be at my daughter's school. I would love to, but I have a job. And so I just hope people to understand that we do want parents to partner with us, but I don't want us to count it against parents when they can't. But we are still, at the end of the day, we are public servants. We are responsible for children's education.
What role, if any, do you see of parents outside of being at the school, but just being at home with their kids? What should they insist on, thinking back when I was a kid, and regarding homework or being involved and so forth? What role would a parent play in enhancing that educational achievement of that child outside of the school room?
I think parents should sit down with their children and discuss expectations.
Okay.
Every school sends home a parent handbook that lists the different expectations of the school. It's, what the teacher will be responsible for, what the principal will be responsible for, what they expect from parents. And I think it's important for parents to sit down with their child and say, you understand when you report to school that you are to respect the teacher, you are to respect the principal, you respect the custodian, every staff member that you're involved with, and that parents are to support the school. And if there is a misunderstanding or questioning about a particular situation, that they go to the teacher first. And they start there and then they work their way up through the chain of command. But I think it's important for parents to speak positively about their school, about their child's teacher, about the entire school district, about the community, because our children will only live up to the expectations that we establish for them, and they truly watch everything we do. But so parents, like I said, that's a partner. If you could just speak positively about the teacher, the school, and hold their children accountable for being successful. It's, you know, we're responsible. I tell you, we are responsible for providing that education, but parents are responsible for supporting us through this particular process.
Well, I tell you, you've touched and kind of focused on two important words to me, and that's respect, and that's responsible, and relationships. To me, those three R's are as important today as reading, writing, and arithmetic. And it takes those last three, the respect, the responsibility, and the relationships, in order for us to turn around what's going on in our schools today, as much as a new math or a new school or whatever. Right. Just we need really to kind of work with our kids as parents, work with our teachers. Teachers need to work with the community. And I'm glad to hear that from you, because it certainly makes me feel better, and I hope that many of our viewers tonight will agree with how you see the relationship and the responsibility and the respect that's important. You came to Peoria at a time where we were faced with having to close a high school and open up a new school. Did we have to, or once you came on board, did you have to lay off many teachers? Did you get caught in that trap of coming on as the new leader, cutting back?
We did cut back. Initially, things were I think handled last spring, around March and April, and we went through, I think, also laying off non-certified staff. But it was just interesting. We have seen an increase in our kindergarten and first grade enrollment. And so we have called back teachers, and we've actually are, I think, hiring a few new teachers next week to address our increased enrollment in kindergarten.
You also are here with the development of some new schools. I think Harrison, and we call it now like a community learning center or whatever. And what's the name of the other school?
We have Glen Oak.
Glen Oak,
yes.
And I think they focus on that as being a community learning center. And we also have our first charter school, of which we're going to be talking with the new principal about that during our second segment. So how do you feel about those directions that Peoria in general and District 150 are going in with the establishment of the new schools and the charter school and whatever?
Excited about our two new schools that opened up. Now we're ready to move forward and to also start planning and to bring in the community. Those two schools were built to be community schools as well. So we need to now add the community components. We needed to get school opened, and we've done that. We do have the open house plan for Harrison on Monday at 4 o'clock. People are welcome to come out and just visit the new school. Our charter school provides another option for our parents, so that's great. When you think about options for parents, if we can keep children in Peoria Public Schools, whether it's through charter or other options, we should do that. We should always be thinking out of the box to try to provide parents with options, and I think if we can provide options, we'll be able to retain our children.